My name is Matthew Cook, and this is How to Win a Holy War. To wage a holy war is to fight with everything you have for the ultimate cause and be willing to sacrifice your life for it. The word holy means perfection, sacred, divine, of a nature more fine than the coarser elements of this world. So how do we know what's so sublime, so good, that it's worth our lives? I mean, how do we know anything? One of my favorite books is A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. And if you download it as a free audiobook with the link in this description, you'll be helping support this series. And you'll learn to tune your television to any channel it doesn't receive, and notice that 1% of dancing static. That's an ancient remnant of the Big Bang. And so the next time you complain there's nothing on TV, you'll remember you can always watch the birth of the universe. And that's part of it, the perspective we need to know how to win a holy war. In Christianity and Judaism, there are 10 commandments. And if you believe in God and you're a reasonable person, it's unlikely you think God sent us those commandments for his sake. I mean, why would that, which created everything, encompassing and enveloping all the infinite universes, who extends back to before anything that ever was, and reaches into the future beyond the after all that will ever be, that infinite oneness, some use the word God to try to describe, which is well beyond our feeble brain's ability to even begin to comprehend, why would that infinite everything that creates everything need us? I mean, we're just a mob of microscopic bugs on a little grain of sand hovering for a flicker of a second inside eternity. Then you more likely believe the commandments weren't written for God, but for you and me, to help. And the first commandment says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." So there's the literal meaning of that phrase, like don't kneel down before a golden calf, and maybe that's helpful, but not really. So thank God there's also the holy meaning, the deeper and wider meaning, which is a metaphor, a warning, not to bend in total submission to money, or wrath, or greed, or any other compulsion of our egos which might pull us and everything in a 500-foot radius around us ultimately into misery, but to ever orient ourselves in service to that which guides us toward the highest good. Not just the highest good for me, but for all things good beyond our self-interest. That kind of highest good is worthy of that word holy, a holy inspiration, a holy spirit. To have no other gods or impulses driving us other than the highest good would be very helpful. If you're an alcoholic and you're recovering, the God you no longer worship is alcohol, that first drove you to embarrassment before tearing your liver apart and eventually dragging you toward an early grave at the expense of everything you loved. I speak from experience because that was once a God, an ugly, lowly God before me. But if we let go of our devotion and addiction to those other gods, and as the Muslim Sufi poet said, we stop seeking love, but instead find all the barriers within ourselves that we've built against it, there will be no other God before us, and that's helpful. And if you're an atheist or agnostic, you don't need the word God. You can just submit your will, or the multitude of wills within you, to a higher power by any name, that great oneness that's holier than thou. But then how to win a holy war? What sort of war could be deserving of that word, holy? A war for the highest good. The word Islam, the deep and wide meaning of that word, is submission to the highest good, present within the one, almighty, all-encompassing force surrounding and flowing through everything seen, unseen, and in between, like an eternal ocean. And in Islam, the word jihad, in the divine sense, the holy sense, means the effort to be free from our lower compulsions, the effort to educate and improve our communities, to feed the poor, the effort to defend the oppressed. And that sort of effort is very helpful. So how to win a holy war? Maybe it's like this. I'm a Christian because I believe the teachings of an ancient Jewish prophet who overturned money tables and was heard saying I should not judge, that I shouldn't look for a speck of dust in my brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank inside my own. That's a hard religion to follow. Whosoever shall smite me on my right cheek, turn to him the other also? How helpful would it be if we could all follow that advice? How to win a holy war? Maybe it's like this. I'm a Jew. Some say you can be a Jew just through your mother's line, so there's that. But there's also a tradition and a man of legend that in this country we call Moses, who freed slaves from tyranny and was inspired to write down 10 commandments, not a one of which isn't helpful for the highest good, but it's hard to follow. Thou shalt not covet. I should not covet what others have. I should let go of greed. I should share. That's good advice. So I'm a Jew by blood and by choice. How to win a holy war? Maybe it's like this. If you believe in facts and science and doing good for no reason other than it's good to be good, and you refuse to believe that there's some man in the sky with a big white beard who gets angry if you don't do this or that, and you call yourself an atheist, well, I agree with you on that. I don't believe there's a man in the sky, unless he's flying a plane, which in itself is a miracle, the plane and the man. And if you're an agnostic and you don't know if there's an intelligence greater than ours, then I respect your skepticism, because how can we assume that we know anything? And if you believe in science, which is the learning and application of things we know and can prove, I agree with you. Absence of proof is certainly not proof of absence. So in an infinite universe, anything is possible. And as they say in Buddhism, there are either all perspectives or none. Buddhism, which comes from the word buddhi, which means to awaken, and is also a name for the power of the great oneness that's within us all. So I'm a Buddhist. But how to win a holy war? Maybe it's like this. I am a Muslim. La ilaha illallah, there is no God but one, is what they say. The same as the first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me, just the highest good. And as a Muslim, I'm taught to remind myself that 5 times a day, because it's so easy to forget, to fall to my knees and obey whatever force happens to be seated on the throne of my ego. So I am a Christian, a Jew, a Buddhist, a Muslim, and I'll be a Hindu too if I knew more about it, but I'm only a human being. So in reality, I know next to nothing but little things, like a superficial sense of the meaning of the word holy. Sacred, divine, complete, whole, one. So how to win a holy war? To have no other gods, no ego, no tribe, nothing other than the one highest good before us, and to devote our lives to be in service to that in every moment until we've won, until we are one.